Hello, hello, hello. What's going on? This is the first movie podcast that we've ever done, so it's probably going to be shit. But I'm BHG Zaz, this is.
Cazbot, also of BHG.
Going strong, starting strong.
Well, I know I went to go say BHH, but we're not BHH.
No, we are not BHH.
We're one letter off.
So Kaz, we're going to start with the spoiler-free review here.
You're going to have to help me with that. I spoil a lot of things for everybody all the time.
Right.
I know we can't talk about the ending. There's a couple gripes I had with the movie. One of them was like towards the end, so we won't talk about that.
Yeah, we'll save that till later. So we just saw John Wick 2.
Yeah.
In theaters, of course, because we're not thieves. So, what did you think of the movie?
Well, I'll start by saying what I said in the car before we agreed not to talk about it in the car. A lot of people said the movie was better than the first, and I disagree. I thought it was a pretty good movie, but I don't think it topped the first one at all.
I would probably say that I agree with that. I think the action scenes in this one are a little bit better, but overall, not as good as the first one.
Yeah. Well, about the action scenes, actually, one of the gripes I had at first was that it seemed in the first one like it seemed a very organic, fluid fight, especially when they were just coming at him in his house and he was just shooting the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
And but in the second movie, it seemed like they just kind of fed him people to kill as he was killing them. And, like there'd be like a little lull, and then he'd turn around and start shooting again. Yeah. And it's like no one just waits for you to be done killing their friend or their colleague before they try and kill you.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's something I noticed about this one too. Is I'm not gonna say the first one was realistic per se, but it had like a grounded sense. Like the first few Jason Bourne movies, where like they try to keep it somewhat grounded, and like yeah, he tore through fuck tons of dudes in the first movie, but generally there was a reason for it, and they specifically set up the fight so he was like in his house, in a hallway, in the nightclub, in a hallway, like on a crowded dance floor where people were running around screaming and shit. So like it made sense that only 2 or 3 dudes were attacking him at any given time. But in this one, there's a scene where he's like in a tunnel and there's like 57 dudes chasing him, and he just manages to take them all apart 2 to 3 at a time for no reason. And like there's no explanation as to why they're all coming from different directions, like in front and behind him, because you see the person chasing him and she walks in with like 20 dudes. And then they just keep multiplying, like they're breeding like rabbits in the corners. Like it didn't make any fucking sense to me.
Yeah, no, I don't get how. The only thing that would make sense is that if there were 2 groups of people going after him, but it didn't look that way because they're all wearing the same gear and they all had the same equipment. So I don't think it was 2 separate groups of attackers.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Like I said, I don't want to spoil anything. I feel like there's one group, not 2.
I thought the plot. I mean. Like, let's be honest, the first John Wick movie, the plot wasn't exactly its selling point. It was Keanu Reeves kicking ass. So, the plot didn't really matter, but it felt like somewhat of a retread. Like, and we'll go into details about that later, but, like, it did hit a lot of the same beats, which is fine, because the first one was fun, but it gets to the point where you're like, oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, the way they tied in the main villain, again, a very loose, quick, kind of like, oh, this explains something from the last movie. That's why this guy's the bad guy this time.
Yeah.
It made sense the way they did it, but at the same time, it was kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah, right.
Like a little MacGuffin.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a MacGuffin.
Yeah, they got a grant from the MacGuffin Institute.
I did enjoy that they explored more of like the criminal underworld in this one. So you if you go see it, you'll see a lot more of like the ins and outs of how their like little mini society within society works, which is pretty cool, as opposed to him just going to the hotel and having everything that he already needs. Like it shows him like getting supplies and stuff and how he goes about doing that, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, the way they set up the underworld was actually reminiscent of the movie Underworld, like, and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, like those, like these Western action films where like it's like this high society, like shit that would never really exist in real life. Everything's hidden. There's freaking speakeasies and bookcases that turn into like bunkers and shit.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very, very surreal.
It starts off pretty. It starts off running essentially. So like, there's no slow build up. There's no wife re-dying again. They touch on those beats a little bit later, but it starts off with a pretty loud action sequence. And he like fucks up a car.
Oh, the car.
And then that kind of is the main. Like he's got to go get his other car back, and then he goes to get his other car back, and that kind of starts the main drive of the plot. But overall, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
So would you recommend this movie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would recommend. I thought it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I like watching Keanu Reeves kick people's ass and blow out their brains. Like, it's a lot of fun. But
yeah, especially if you watched any of the training videos that prove that he can actually do all of that.
Yeah, which kind of terrifies me. But I mean, I wouldn't expect like Citizen Kane here. Like, it's not gonna blow your mind with its plot and its storyline and its reveals. But
yeah,
overall, it was a lot of fun. So it was definitely worth picking up.
Yeah.
And now, in order to explain some of the major problems with this movie, we're gonna have to get into spoiler territory. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, you can skip past this. Just ignore it.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
All right. So.
Yeah, you want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go
All
first.
right.
I want to hear what you have to say.
All right. Well, I wrote this down on the phone because we weren't allowed to talk about it until now. And two things that I don't really think are spoilers. But the two biggest things I saw right away in the movie was, one, collateral damage, meaning that he can somehow fire a gun in a crowd full of people, like point blank. He literally puts the gun to a dude's head who's literally a foot away from him, shoots the guy, and there's like an entire crowd of people right behind the guy, definitely within the path of the bullet. Nobody died. And,
Yeah.
I mean, you could say hollow point, low caliber, but from that range, I mean, somebody would have accidentally gotten shot. Some civilian would have gotten shot.
Yeah, I mean, alright, so there's something you gotta know about this. So there's a lot of fight scenes in very public places. So there's a shootout in like 3 different train stations in the New York subway, on a train, in the middle of Rome. Like, very public, very open places. That was the other thing I think the first movie did well, is because, like, all the places that he kills people, that there would logically be no witnesses. It was his house, so he doesn't have cameras in his house, and then he went to the gang, the mafia hotel that's, like, essentially an embassy for all criminals so they don't hurt each other.
Yeah.
And, like, went to their nightclub and shot up a nightclub. That they're clearly doing illegal shit, so they're not going to have cameras there.
Yeah, and everybody knows what to expect in that area. Like, oh, someone shoot up the place. Yeah, typical Tuesday.
They know shit's going to go down. This one, it was, like, it's a little bit harder to believe that, like, no one really noticed or saw it.
Well, yeah, that was the thing with the train. That was actually the third one that I forgot, but you reminded me. Thank you. Is that there are 2 guys knife fighting on a train. No one like 2 guys like backed up cautiously. No one like screamed. No one freaked out or tried to get out of the car, like go to the next car. No one took their phone out and said World Star or anything like that.
Yeah, that was I think the part that I found the most unbelievable. Like, I've seen fights on World Star on YouTube, and like a lot of people will back away, but they kind of just let them fight, and then they'll get off at the next stop. Like, I don't want to deal with this. Which, to be fair, was in between stops, but no one filmed it and put it on YouTube.
They barely reacted. Barely reacted.
Like, there was like a 22-year-old girl there. You know she's got an iPhone handy. So was the 26-year-old dude sitting next to her.
Yeah.
You know that both of them would pull out their cell phones and immediately start filming that shit.
It's not like they were fighting with guns at that point, so it's not like they would have been too afraid to move. Like, people would have been like screaming and running to the back of the car and filming.
Probably somebody trying to stop it, like, and like, so there's in a scene directly preceding that. I feel like we're jumping all over this. So directly preceding that, there's a scene. John Wick is downstairs in this very, very, very clean New York City subway station. The dude that he was fighting, who was like the only one capable of like actually standing a chance against him 1v1, is upstairs, and they're shooting silenced pistols at each other, which apparently make less noise than BBs because no one reacted to the stones breaking and flying everywhere. And if you don't know anything about guns, silencers are not that quiet in a subway station.
No.
It still sounds like a gun. It just doesn't go like more than like 30 feet away.
Yeah.
It's designed to cone off the vibration. Everyone would have been screaming and yelling.
It muffles the sound like slightly, but it's literally the difference between the shooter not wearing any sort of ear protection, getting permanent hearing damage and not getting. That's all it does, is it makes it so you don't get permanent hearing damage and the sound doesn't travel as far.
Yeah.
So as not to attract zombies.
So, like, the movie starts out, like I said before, like a chase scene. So you just see a dude on, like, a Ducati driving through New York City streets, flooring it, driving like an asshole. And then you see a Dodge, like a 69 Charger, I think it is, chasing him.
That's a Mustang.
No, the first car he's driving.
No.
So the first car he's driving is a Charger, and he's chasing him through the streets. And the motorcycle's using the fact that it's thinner to go through traffic. He somehow gets ahead of him, whips the car in front of him. The guy slams into the car, slams onto the ground, most likely dead. He pulls a thing that I didn't recognize and didn't really show up again in the plot.
It was like a metallic tile with like one of those smart chips on it.
Yeah, and looked they had like a skull embossed on it, maybe. I don't know. I didn't get a good look at it, but
it could have been like one of those gambling plaques. Certain denominations of currency, like once you get into like the 100,000s, they give you like, it's like in Casino Royale, they give you like the little rectangular. I thought maybe it was something like that.
Might have been. They never explain it.
Nope.
They never address it again. I'm assuming the movie leaves itself open to a sequel, so maybe it shows up in the sequel, maybe he uses it for something, but they never talk about it.
Yeah, it could have just been like a key card or something. It just seems a little elaborate for it should just never come back,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. They very, very clearly set the movie up for a third.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be trilogized.
But so then he goes to the car garage. So his main drive right now is that they still have his Mustang from the last movie, which I thought he got back, but thinking about it now, I don't think he actually did get it back.
Yeah,
as far as I can remember, he ends up with the new Charger in the last movie. Well, at the time, new.
It's like the guy who stole his car and killed his dog. It's his father's brother, because he said nephew. So
I think so.
The guy who he takes the car back from it's his nephew who stole it in the first place.
Yeah.
So I mean.
So he shows it. So they did another like throwback to the first movie where they're talking about like how crazy awesome John Wick is at killing people, and they threw a throwback line to like he killed 3 people in a bar with a pencil, blah blah blah, which you get to see him do later.
Oh god, that was horrible.
But so they throw all of that out there, and then he shows up there, and while they're talking, the dude's like just fucking inhaling this big ass cigar, and John Wick is walking through the garage and essentially just killing all of his dudes. And at the end of it, he calls him, and he's like, "By the way, you stole my fucking car." And then the guy hangs up on him, so the guy hangs up the phone, and he's like, "The boogeyman," in Russian, and then you hear the Mustang start up in the garage, which is right near the dude's house.
Yeah.
So then he tries to drive away. He gets cut off. He smashes the shit out of his car trying to get out. Then he gets out, and then this is where you can tell there's a slight shift in the way the movie scenes are. I mean, the fight scenes are choreographed, because like because it's like a cabbie like front. It's like taxi cabs.
It's like a chop shop.
Yeah, it's a chop shop where they hide, or they have taxi cabs as the front business. And these cabs drive, like, they get in the cab from one side of the garage and drive to the other side. And, like, multiple people try to hit him with the car. They total the car, and then they get out one by one or two by two and try to, like, fist fight him.
Yeah.
And he takes out, like, 20 dudes, and then he takes out the boss, because he's, like, a mini-boss who's, like, some bigger dude.
Oh, yeah. Big, obviously Russian guy.
Yeah, and like that, I could tell was like, oh, this is gonna be a little bit different than it was last one, because the last one, nothing really starts until after they kill his dog.
Yeah.
And then I forget why did they show up at his house in the first movie?
What do you mean?
He calls it in to the father of the kid of Theon Greyjoy, and is like, by the way, your son took my fucking dog, killed my fucking dog, and took my fucking car. I'm killing you all.
Yeah.
So then that happens, but the house scene I thought was a little bit better because they spread out throughout the house to try to find him. So he's moving around the house quietly, taking on like 1 or 2 dudes, and they're all running from everywhere in the house to try to get to where the fight is to take him out.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that it's spaced out. This one, it's like you're a fucking taxi front for the Russian mob, and none of you have a gun. You can just fucking shoot them.
Yeah, no, like I said, they kind of just fed him bad guys to kill.
Yeah. It was definitely, it felt like more video gamey a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're dealing with that many people, like, it's very unrealistic that you could take that many people on at once and not suffer some damage, which brings me to my other complaint about the movie.
We'll get there when we get to that part and plot, and we'll try to follow it chronologically a little bit.
I mean, what else happens in between then? That really, I mean, I don't want to like.
Oh,
I don't want to tell him the whole thing.
No, it's short thing. All right. Anyway, so what were you gonna say? What were you gonna bring up?
The magic suits.
Oh yes. All right. So.
I mean, we could just touch on it and get back to it.
Yeah. So he. All right. So he takes out all the dudes in the garage, and there's another thing that didn't make sense. I thought it was gonna play into the movie later, and again, you'll notice I didn't bring it up, which I might have left for the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
But he tries to drive out of the garage. He has to drive back in. He fights all the dudes. He shoots out the kneecaps of the really big dude. He walks into the Russian mob boss's office and then, like, makes a truce with him. They take a shot of vodka and then he leaves.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite understand why that happened the way it happened. The guy never comes back.
No.
They never bring it up. The Russian mob never does anything to help him or hurt him. They just end it there. It was the same thing with the placard. It's just left questions that I didn't understand.
Well, just without ruining the whole thing and negating the need to see the movie, I would say, from my perspective, it was, the guy's uncle had the car, didn't want to give it back because you killed my nephew.
Yeah.
So fuck you. Like you already killed like dozens of my brother's men, and my nephew. Don't want to give you your car back. And John's just like, yeah, but I'm going to get it. And then he does, but he doesn't really, he knows the guy's like scared shitless at that point. Probably not going to retaliate, so he doesn't feel the need
to kill him.
The guy's just like, okay, you can have the car, just go away and stay there.
Yeah, so essentially what ends up happening after that, you meet the main villain. There's a MacGuffin kind of like a blood pact or whatever, and that guy makes John Wick come out of retirement again to go to Rome and kill a target.
Yeah.
So he so he refuses, and then something bad happens, and then that changes his mind, so then he decides to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And he flies to Rome, and that was when you got to see like a lot of him with his gold pieces, like going around shopping for guns, shopping for clothes, getting intel on his hit. And then Kaz's biggest gripe in the movie.
It happens as soon as he gets to the city is the magic suits, where, I mean, it is cool in theory, but I feel like it kind of ruins the movie, So basically, these suits look badass. They're really nice Italian suits, but they have some sort of armor.
Yeah, they got
it's not like it's very thin, like Kevlar.
It's essentially thin Kevlar that's sewn into the jacket of his suit.
Yeah, it's like in between. It's in between the layers of the lining and the shell. So that wouldn't add like a bunch of bulk to you or anything. And also, yes, it stops bullets from penetrating you, which obviously wouldn't really work if they were using anything higher than a .22 caliber round.
Yeah, probably
with the thickness of the material.
Yeah.
And even if it did work that way, you'd still feel the full force of the bullet and probably bones cracked.
Which, by the way, that they make a point of being like, oh, it'll hurt like hell.
Yeah, but it'll knock you down on your ass. And you can't breathe. There's more like it, and then he uses it at certain points. Like he throws his jacket up, he blocks the bullet.
He grabs the edge of his jacket, holds it up in front of his face, crouches underneath it, and then charges at people while they're shooting at him, so they don't shoot him in the head.
Yeah, well, my biggest gripe with magic suits is is that they kind of take away from his badassery, in my opinion. Like the whole point of John Wick is that he's the boogeyman. He's so good at killing and just causing mayhem, and not dying at all through this. That people regard him as a myth.
Yeah.
Except for he's not. And he will kill you. But there's certain points where he gets shot in the back, but he doesn't die at all because magic suit. So what you're telling me is that basically it's not that he's that good. He just got lucky. Like at any point in the movie, had he not been wearing special magic suit, he could have died.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that the intention was that because he had the magic suit of magicalness, Like, he had the mithril on, that he knew that if he got shot, it wouldn't really matter, so he was just more willing to tank gunfire, but it was kind of like...
Well, yeah.
Like, John Wick, the first one, like, it was all real guns, like, prop guns, but real models of guns that they replicated and, like, actual tech and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, if this is the step they're going to start taking to, like, James Bond-level shit, where he's got, like, an invisible shoe that has, a needle in it that has poison from an anaconda, like, I don't...
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't go down that road. Keanu Reeves, if you're listening, please don't let it go down that road. Like,
yeah,
because it does. You're right. It does take something away. Because then I was like, there's so many scenes where he does the stupid fucking throws the jacket over his head and runs at somebody, and I'm like, well, like that wouldn't work. Like even if the bullet hit it, it would still knock the fabric into your face at like 400 miles an hour. That would hurt.
Yeah. Well, there are two instances where I thought the magic suits really kind of just ruin it, and that was when he gets shot in the back during the hallway scene where they're just funneling dudes at three at a time. He gets shot in the back. He doesn't notice that the guy is there until he's like, ow, that hurts, and then he turns around and kills him instantly. And I was like, but if you weren't wearing that jacket, you'd be dead. You would be game over, man. And then another point when him and another assassin open fire on each other in the middle of a crowded venue. Like, they both would have been dead right there had they not both been wearing magic suits. And, of course, the other guy has a magic suit, too. It wasn't just John Wick. Everyone has magic suits now.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, other than that, though, all the action scenes played really well with me. I thought they were great. Magic suits...
See, my only issue with the action... So, the action scenes, like, you can tell they were like, let's crank it up to 10, bigger, better. Make it better than what the first one was, and it'll be fucking, oh my god, so awesome.
It was bigger.
Yeah, it was bigger, but, like, it came to the point we talked about before, there's just so many dudes that you're like, there's no way that he would be able to mouth through, like, 73 fucking fully grown-ass men, all trained to kill him, like, and and get away. And he got away. There's also, that scene with the other assassin takes place in, like, this time it's like the other thing, too. Police response time in this movie is apparently just not existent. Yeah. It just doesn't happen. So, like, they're in Rome, they're at, like, a ruins, and they're throwing, like, a rave party so they can have music like they did in the first movie, which is it was a fun song to listen to and watch the fight scenes.
It was a good soundtrack overall.
Yeah. And, like, they build up the bass drop when, like, they're having a moment and then drop it right as they start shooting at each other. It was cool. But, my only thing was, like, this is exactly what they did in the first movie. Like, he goes to the nightclub, Theon Greyjoy's in the pool with those chicks, and then he just runs around to, like, fucking techno music, shooting people. And I was like, oh, they're kind of doing that again. And then they transition into the tunnel scene, which was cool. It's the little things that the movie does that I enjoy. Like, I like the fact that, like, they show him constantly reloading and, like, checking his gun. Like, I think one time his gun jams because he's using one that he's not familiar with.
Yeah.
Or, like, he has an AR-15 and he's just shooting bad guys and, like, runs out of bullets and, like, has to back up as they turn the corner and just spray wildly at him, and then he pulls out his Glock and just pops two dudes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, he's making him switch guns and shit. He doesn't just have endless ammo.
Yeah.
But the counter to that was, like, this man is way too good at headshots.
He really is. It's like...
He kills everyone with a headshot. It's every single person
flawless victory every time.
Yeah.
There were some pretty cool things that they just did in the movie, like, that I thought was kind of just badass for an action movie. Like, with the AR-15, how the first magazine that he has is it's actually, like, two...
Oh, yeah, taped together? Like,
yeah, so when he runs out of bullets in the first one, he just pulls it out and then shifts it slightly to the left and then puts it back in.
Yeah, and then slides it back. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Like, that's a guy that kills smart, not hard.
And, so from there, they leave, and then they have, like, another shootout in Roman streets. Police, like, I mean, I've been in Rome, and the Mafia is kind of a big force in Rome, even to this day, but not to the point where, like, you could have wild fucking gunfights with over, like, fucking 300 shots fired and the police just don't show up. And, like, it shows him leaving the venue after he, like, escapes, and you see sirens just starting to get there, and you're like he's in downtown. Like, what the fuck? How are they not here yet?
Yeah, well, in defense of the movie, I would say that there's a couple of instances, especially at the end of the movie, and in the first one too, when like people talk to John and they ask him like about work, they always do it like they know what he does, but they're afraid to even mention it. So it could be a situation like that where like the whole Assassins Guild, the Empire, as it were, and I forgot what the criminal organization is, the Table.
Oh yeah, the High Table.
The High Table, yes, thank you. Like they could be that badass, and they could pervade that much of society, where like the cops are just like, oh yeah, the bad guy hangout's being lit up right now. We should probably avoid that until they say.
Let them just kill each other. We'll clean up the rest.
Yeah, it could be something like that. But I agree. Like, there's a lot of parts in the movie where it's like, yeah, there should be like pandemonium in the streets, like people looting and smashing windows and stealing TVs because of all the crazy shit that's going on, and no one does anything.
Yeah, I will say this. Keanu Reeves' acting it's not good. It's not great.
I mean, has it ever really been? As an avid fan of Keanu Reeves, I gotta say his line delivery is often
not great.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no, it isn't. Okay, so there was a scene. Alright, so there's two scenes. One directly preceding it, he's fighting this dude, and they roll down like something like 100 stairs, like 3 flights of those long stairs that are like in old medieval cities, and like both of them. Oh, my cat just scared the shit out of me. Both of them just like keep getting up and fighting like that. None of you cracked a rib or like busted your shin or got like a Charlie horse or something. Like they're all totally fine.
I feel like that was I feel like they intentionally like just injected some humor because it's literally 2 dudes fighting and they just keep rolling downstairs.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it's probably the funniest line in the movie, though not for like I think that they were trying to make it like funny, but also kind of badass, and it fell flat on the delivery of both actors, and instead was just really funny, at least to me and Cazbot, because no one else in the theater thought it was funny, but the 2 of us were howling laughing.
Yeah.
They go through the window of those hotels you're not allowed to fight in, and the owner of the hotel was like, gentlemen, no fighting here. How about you guys get a drink to calm down? And then Keanu Reeves gets up and he's like, Reeves, he's like, if I remember correctly, it was gin, wasn't it? And then the other guy responds with, yeah, bourbon, wasn't it?
Yeah. Seriously.
It was so bad.
Seriously, like I've seen almost every movie Keanu Reeves has been in, like including Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
And I've never seen the Lake House because
I never watched that.
Time traveling mailbox love is not something that I subscribe to. But like, I feel like there had to be a direction thing and not just Keanu Reeves thing.
Keanu Reeves.
Because he has the emotional range of a carrot.
Yeah.
I love you, Keanu. He's like, you were one of my favorite actors. Like, but no. You sound like a robot. Like,
yeah,
you act how I am in real life. People say I am not emotional. You deliver lines flatter than Pepsi left out for 3 hours.
Yeah, it was that was a rough line. It was really funny though.
I think the last line of the movie was one of the funniest.
Oh yeah, it was also really funny.
And that's not really even a spoiler too, so we could say, tell everyone who comes, I'll kill them. I'll kill them all. Like, it's not even the words that are so bad. It's just the way he delivers it. Like he just.
Well, it's the way he delivers it, and also it's like the most cliche thing.
Well, yeah, it's not as bad as Ghost Rider, though. I still think.
Yeah,
it's not as bad as you.
But I mean, like,
that's Nicolas Cage, though. He's on his own level.
Yeah. So I don't know. So the main villain has, what's her name? Ruby Rose, something like that. What's the name of the actress?
Oh yeah, Ruby Rose is the actress. His main lackey.
Yeah, Ruby Rose is like his main henchwoman, I guess it would be. And I actually liked her character, despite not liking the actress all that much. one, she's very attractive, which is always nice. But two, and more importantly, she is badass. She kicks ass. She doesn't really. My only issue with her, she didn't really fight other people. So whenever movies have a female femme fatale villain that can take a hang with the boys and kill them all, they usually have her fight some random person at the beginning of the movie, like some random henchman, and kill them to show their badassness. They restrain themselves, which I appreciated. So, like, she tries to shoot him a bunch of times in the movie, but she never has, like, a fight scene, really. She's just trailing him and popping shots while letting the people under her do the work. And then at the very end of the movie, she and Keanu have a fight scene, and I actually appreciated it because most movies that try to have a female versus the male, especially if the male is a protagonist fight scene, always try to, like, choreograph it in a way where, like, the woman can somehow throw him, hit him, and knock him just as hard as he can hit her. And they didn't do that in this one, if you notice. The way the fight scene's choreographed, like, he's essentially just picking her up and throwing her. Well, she's stabbing him and, like, darting in and out and getting, like, jabs and shit there faster than he can react.
Well, she has like a kunai.
Yeah.
So she has a knife versus him, and
he's barehanded.
Yeah, she doesn't go for overwhelming force. She tries to get, like, the quick little blows, and she fights ferociously, I would say. And then he kind of, at one point, just picks her up and literally throws her into a wall. Yeah. Which is something you can do when someone is, like,
half your weight.
Like 80 pounds lighter than you.
Yeah, I actually, like, I don't know, I forgot which one would be a good example. Well, in the first movie, they had that scene where he fights that girl in the bedroom, and that one, it was like almost like they were like equals in fighting, which I don't mind if they're equals in fighting, but it was almost like they were equal strength. Like, he wasn't like picking her up and just like wham in the first movie. Like, they're kind of going back and forth. I like that in this one. Granted, Ruby Rose is smaller than the girl in the first movie. I can't remember her name right now.
Yeah, I want to watch the first one now.
Yeah,
that's something we should do that.
Yeah. But, like, in this one, like, I enjoyed that because a lot of movies could easily play around with that, and they never do. Like, they always, like, end up trying to make it seem like, oh, yeah, but, like, Black Widow could totally get into a fist fight with Captain America and hold her own, and you're like, she could be faster, and she's certainly more agile and probably deadlier, because Captain doesn't really try to kill people. He just accidentally does when he boots them off a boat and lets them drown, but, like, she actually stabs and shoots people and intends on killing them. But
and electrocutes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I liked her character very much.
Yeah, I did too. Apparently she's not deaf, I think she's mute.
Yeah, she's signs. She uses sign language to communicate.
Yeah, but she can hear what other people are saying. Well, no, because Keanu signs back to her.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if she's deaf or not deaf.
Yeah, they don't make it clear. So, like, the first time the first speaking, open air quotes, role that she speaking line that she has is they see each other in the tunnel, and then he, like, asks her a question and she signs it back to him and flips him off. But, like, clearly, I'm not sure if she was reading his lips or could hear him, but just couldn't talk. Like, maybe she suffered an injury on another fight and, like, lost her vocal cords or something. But then Keanu later in the movie signs back to her the same amount that she signed it to him. Oh, apparently John Wick knows, like, every language.
Yeah.
He knows all of the languages.
Well, I mean, when you're literally the boogeyman of the criminal world, you probably gotta... Killing people all over the world, probably got to learn the language, you know?
Yeah, but do you know how hard it would be to be fluent in English and Russian and Italian? It's not even like they made him fluent in 3 languages, have a root language.
Yeah.
It's like from all over the planet. He just knows all of them.
Yeah.
And he knows Italian Sign Language. He doesn't even know ASL. He knows ISL. Magically.
Actually, I forgot what the other one is called. The other...
It's each country... From what I understand, each country kind of has their own sign language. Because different terms translate to finger motions differently. I don't know. We're getting...
Yeah, we don't need to get into that.
Yeah, but, yeah, so... Where were we? Anything else you wanted to bring up?
Nothing that's, like, not an absolute spoiler. I don't know if you wanted to get into...
Well, I mean, we're in the spoiler section, so might as well.
Okay, fine. Being as vague as possible. Towards the end of the movie, after... The main bad guy, having double-crossed John Wick, puts out a hit on him to keep him from, getting killed.
Yeah.
It's like, so obviously that's the only course of action is John Wick wants me dead, so I'm gonna hire a bunch of other assassins to kill him when literally no one has been able to kill him so far. And then, so the main bad guy gets back to the continental ground, as they call it. So John Wick's not supposed to be able to, shed any blood, and then he just walks in and fucking shoots him in the head.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, snap. Crap. He totally just did a thing that he's not supposed to do.
I honestly, I ended up whispering to him in the theater, but John Wick still has his pit bull that he got in the first movie. And it's like super well trained now, so just follows him everywhere, does anything that he tells it to. And what I thought, I had the suspicion that he was going to get around the rules of, like, you're not allowed to kill people by having his dog kill somebody and be like, well, the rules don't apply to a dog. But no, he just shoots him right between the eyes. Like, in the middle of the like, right in front of the hotel owner, in the middle of everyone. Like, doesn't care, just pops him right in the head.
Yeah.
Which, as you can probably guess, is the setup to the third movie. Where they're now going to have John Wick versus the world, but not have any of the resources that he's had in the first two movies.
What the twist?
Yeah, what the twist? But I feel like tonally this movie was a bit different than the first. Like, they tried to have a lot more like gags, like getting people laugh at each other. Yeah.
Oh, we didn't talk about it yet. Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh, yeah. Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu Reeves reunite, even though they may have after The Matrix and some other movie that I'm not aware of, but...
I don't believe they have. I'm pretty sure this is the first movie they've been in together since the last Matrix.
Possibly.
I could be wrong on that, but I remember reading about it that they hadn't, like, acted together or even really...
been near each other?
Yeah, for a while. Well, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I also noticed that they had, like, a slight homage to The Matrix when, like, Lawrence Fishburne is like, well, though, I feel like the real question you should be asking, it kind of goes into, like, that type of Matrix-y question.
Yeah.
He's showing Neo that the world isn't real. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I was really thinking he was going to be like, John Wick, the one, the only. Like, I thought that was going to be the homage to it. Mm-hmm. And I was expecting the cringe, but they restrained themselves. They didn't do it.
Yeah. I really hope he's in the next one.
I don't understand why Lawrence Fishburne is like the king of pigeons and homeless people, though.
He's Pigeon Man?
Yeah, he's just Pigeon Man. Like, he has a bunch of carrier pigeons, like, near the Brooklyn Bridge, or whatever bridge, excuse me, New Yorkers, but near a bridge in New York City. Mm-hmm. And, like, all of his homeless people are all, like, part of the criminal. Which, by the way, apparently everyone, and I mean everyone, has a cell phone connected to the bounty list the criminal underworld operates.
Yeah.
You notice that? Like, he's walking through Central Park at one point in the movie, and, like, everyone is looking at him like, oh, shit, he got kicked out of the Assassin's Guild, oh my god! He got a fucking, like, $14 million bounty on his head or some shit, some insane amount of money.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure his character will be a little bit more important in the next movie.
Possibly, yeah.
Just because he's not just like an assassin. He has his own little underground operation, too.
Does he? No, Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah,
that's what John Wick.
No, obviously, yeah, he'll be a little bit more important in the movie that's literally has his name in the title. No, I think Lawrence Fishburne's character will be more important just because he helped him out in this movie.
Yeah.
Won't tell you how.
Begrudgingly.
Yeah, but, like, he's not like all the other assassins who are just kind of like, they're operating solo.
Yeah, for money.
Yeah.
Is he an assassin? I thought he was like a drug lord.
I'm not
like
sure.
His own drug lord.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I'm not sure. I think he's in the game not just as like a drug lord. They don't
really explain it.
I didn't really get the feeling he was a drug lord, but his homeless.
Well, maybe not like the head of his own little criminal empire. Because
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is he has people working for him, and they're really good shots because that guy totally just killed 2 other assassins.
Yeah.
But so I feel like that's where John Wick's gonna go in the next movie, not having anywhere else
to flee to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other thing I didn't like. So one of the setups to this movie is that because John Wick essentially, like, fucks the entire Russian mob in the first movie and the beginning of this movie, there's like a power vacuum in New York City that the Italian mafia is now trying to move in on. And then, like, they make this illusion where, like, one character is like, oh, well, if you do that, then the main villain's gonna move into New York City. Do you really want that to happen? But, like,
yeah,
it sounds threatening, but we haven't seen the dude do anything except fuck over John, which every other criminal has done to John in the entirety of the fucking films, so like I don't understand why him moving to New York City to try to fill the power vacuum is any worse than anyone else.
I guess his actions throughout the film are supposed to speak to his character. He's kind of a backstabbing.
Yeah, but I mean,
he's one of the worst people I've seen in the movies. At least the other people had some sort of code. They valued things like family.
I guess, but on the other hand, like the father of the son that he killed in the last movie, like tortured an assassin, Willem Dafoe, for no reason.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe's in there.
Oh god.
Yeah, and I don't know. It should be interesting. I do want to see the sequel. Like I said, I did enjoy this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything, in my opinion, as clever as something as I enjoyed as much as him moving through the nightclub, like through all the different dance floors and shit, with like the bass just like in the background.
Yeah,
like,
I love that song too. The one from the club. I use that to run to.
Yeah, it's a fun song to listen to.
It's my running track.
And he fucking like fucks shit up there. Like towards the end of the original John Wick, it starts to kind of go off the rails. Like when he's in the parking lot. And he's essentially in like a massive shootout with like 50 people by himself, and you're like, all right. You don't own one sniper rifle. Like, you see him getting in the car, just pop him from like down the street. I don't know why you're there with an assault rifle in your hands trying to take him out with an M16. Like, it don't make any sense.
Yeah.
But they cranked that shit to 11 this movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for me. Like in terms of gripes that I had with the film.
Yeah.
Like there are other things that like the motivations of characters and why someone would do like XYZ for John or anybody else. Like why would they go out of their way for them? And that's just little stuff that anyone would probably pick apart.
Yeah.
And they might explain it later on. So like, suspend that criticism for now.
So at the beginning, relatively to the beginning of the movie, like the first third, you see the owner of the New York hotel commissioning new golden coins, like the doubloons that they use.
Yeah.
But I really want them to explain it because I don't understand the gold coin significance, nor do I understand the denominations.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. You made a pretty funny point.
Yeah, like at one point he buys like 2 magic suits of mithril, right? And that costs 4 coins. And then he and another dude get a drink at a bar later in the movie, and that costs 1 coin.
Yeah.
So they have 1 glass of scotch and 1 gin and tonic, and apparently that's worth 1/4 of magical mithril armor. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, I don't get that either, unless it's like 400-year-old alcohol, like aged in barrels made from the wood of the ships that Christopher Columbus discovered America. Like I don't understand why 1 coin equals 2 drinks, but 4 coins equals 2 Italian suits.
But a hotel room. So like the hotel room in the first movie and in this movie, 1 coin cost him like however long his stay was.
Yeah.
So either they're drinking only the top of the top shelf, or there's like a no change asked or allowed in this society. Like, the minimum is 1 coin. The total actual value could be 1/10 of a coin, but we will not make change for you. It's just 1 coin minimum. In which case, they're getting screwed. That's some inflation right there.
Yeah, that didn't really... I didn't really get that, but I was just like,
Yeah.
That one
cool.
I let it slide. I was just like, I don't understand their world. It's a mystery to all of us.
It looks cool that they pay with everything in like pirate doubloons. I thought that was pretty interesting, but it was also a little confusing.
Yeah, the whole secret society thing always kind of that gets me.
Yeah,
it tickles my fancy.
I enjoy it. My only obviously these are not supposed to be like super realistic, but what breaks the fantasy for me is like watching him get into like a fight in like New York City, one of the most monitored by CCTV cameras cities in the world.
Yeah, with like the strictest gun laws in the country.
Yeah, one of the strictest gun laws in the country, and everyone's got a gun, and they're fighting in like the middle of the streets in front of hundreds of people.
Oh.
And all the people run away screaming, but then the cops just never show up to deal with the dude who's bleeding. Like.
Yeah. It also taught me that we should become assassins, because apparently like 1 in 3 people in New York City is an assassin. Because when they put the hit out on him at the end, towards the end of the movie, like you literally see him running, and like everyone's phone are like, like everyone's phone's just going off.
He passes.
All of them, they have like these like track phone like flip things too. Like no one has an iPhone.
And he is.
Like like they're the.
Well, they're probably all burner phones.
Yeah, I know.
But like
even a burner phone, like I can get a burner with a touchscreen.
Like he passes like 4 hobos who've got cell phones to let him know that he's a target now. Like a mother pushing her baby in a stroller. Like a couple making out like near a tree. Like everyone is like, oh shit, gotta kill John Wick now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like a dog in the park playing frisbee. Like checks its bottom,
checks its collar.
They didn't go that crazy with it, but yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't make more use of the dog.
Yeah, I liked your idea of having the dog just like jump up on the guy and rip his throat out. Yeah. It's like, oh, it wasn't you.
He did it on its own. It's just a rabid animal. Yeah, like I figured, like they would make use of the dog at some point in the movie, like have maybe his house get invaded again, and then have the dog jump the first guy who runs into the window and like maul him while John Wick deals with everybody else.
Yeah, I am really excited though for the next one. I just I don't know where they're gonna. I know they're gonna hit the ground running with the next one, obviously.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're gonna do exactly what they did with this one, which is it was nice that they like. I like the fact that it starts off with like already in the action. Mm-hmm. And then the title screen was like less than a minute. It was really fast opening credits, and then they had like elongated closing credits. But they like we're not gonna sit here with a long ass credit sequence letting you know like everyone's nephew who showed up to bring your kid to work day. Like no, like it's just here's the director, here are the stars. Let's go. We're starting the shit up.
Yeah, I don't see a whole lot of movies that do that anymore. I think a lot of people got pissed off like back in the early 2000s with the Marvel movies when they started pumping them out.
Yeah.
Like the first Spider-Man movie where they had entire credits at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. They used to be a thing they used to do in the 60s that I kind of stopped doing.
I mean, also, you want people to get their recognition, but
yeah, I didn't even know the movie was starting when it started.
Yeah, I thought they were going into another preview.
I thought it was either going to be a preview, or so at first they did like that roller coaster thing, which I think was a production house, but I didn't recognize the production house, and I thought it was the stupid advertisement like you can buy soda and popcorn and please turn off your cell phone. Yeah, that's what I was expecting.
That's exactly what I thought it was too.
And then like the roller coaster goes down, and then you just start hearing like a motorcycle revving.
Yeah.
And then like an old-timey movie of like people like covering their ears like projected up against a skyscraper, and I was like, okay, this is going to be like some sort of infomercial, and then it's just
the movie
with like a motorcycle and a car whipping around a corner, and I was like, wait, what the? Okay, so I guess we're starting here now. All right.
Yeah. Well, I like the abrupt open.
Yeah, me too. So, one minor complaint that I fucking have about movie theaters, and I'm going to say it, I don't understand why I have to pay a premium to see an inferior viewing experience. And it's getting to the point now where that shit really pisses me off.
Why, Dan? What do you mean?
Oh my god. So we get there, the opening sequence with the Ducati and the Challenger, and the movie is so fucking loud. And I'm not that old, okay? I'm not even 30 yet. I'm not that old, and it's too loud.
And you're partially deaf in one ear, too.
And I'm partially deaf in one ear. I went to a rock concert last Tuesday, Alter Bridge, alright? And this was about it, almost as loud as that.
Yeah.
Like, it was absurd. My girlfriend and I had gone to go see the Doctor Who special like a month or so back, and it was so loud that like I had to cover my ears the whole time. I don't know what's going on with that theater, but cranked it. Alright, so I get up. I walk out of the theater, I go talk to the manager, I'm like, listen, by the way, theater number, blah, 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 it's really loud, like, and I explained that the last couple times I'd been there, it had been really, like, uncomfortably loud and unnecessary. Their solution for it being too loud, as opposed to just lowering the volume, was to turn the surround sound off, and put just the stereo speakers at the front, and then lower those. So it went from being way too fucking loud to, like, not loud enough. Like, they didn't know how to find a happy medium. It was super frustrating.
Yeah, well, that's not the movie's fault.
No, it's not the movie's fault. That's movie theaters as viewing experience's fault.
I mean, I really wish we could have gone to the AMC as opposed to Regal.
I agree. But I wish even more that we could watch it your house.
Yeah,
like, right when it launched.
I do have a pretty nice setup.
Yeah, you have a nice setup, you have a nice sound system, and I don't have to worry about people fucking texting in the movie theater or shaking their bucket of popcorn in the middle of a pivotal scene. And some dude's like trying to get the kernels up to the surface, and he's like, thanks. Thanks for ruining my immersion.
That guy who was checking his phone for like 3 minutes straight.
Oh yeah, I almost like ran over and yelled at a dude. He was like checking his text messages.
In the words of Christian Bale, it's fucking distracting.
Yeah, right. I'm trying to watch the movie. I'm trying to watch the show.
We're so old. We're complaining about people being on their phones in the theater. We went to see a rock concert. We wore earplugs at a rock concert. Like, we're so old.
Like, when I was younger, I was like, oh, well, fuck it, I'll tank it. But it's getting louder. I swear it's getting louder. And it's like, not because I'm getting older, I genuinely feel like they're just slowly cranking up, because everyone who goes to these types of things on a regular basis are getting more and more deaf from it being too loud, so they have to put it louder so it sounds loud to these people. So when you get people like us who never go to a movie theater and we show up and the walls are vibrating, my eardrum is doing the after every fucking bass drop because they're trying to deal with all the noise. I can't handle it.
Yeah, I'm glad that they turned the volume down, though, because there's a lot of gunshots in the movie.
Oh, there's a lot of gunshots.
So that would have been painful.
A lot of gunshots, a lot of loud music, and engine noises.
Yeah. Anything else? Anything else you really liked or disliked about the movie?
I like his setup scenes in both movies, like where he's getting like geared up and ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's really cool. I like the attention to detail that they have.
Yeah.
Like when he's talking, like when he's buying the guns and he's like talking about the guns, and like you can tell that Keanu Reeves, through his character, is pretty goddamn passionate about firearms. He's like, oh, here's this gun, here are the features, and he's like super like stoked about it and checking it out. I thought that was cool. I didn't like how one character, like before that character dies, they feel the need to like have some sort of allegory to current racial issues. Where, like, it's a black dude, and he's like, oh, that used to be our territory. And she's like, that was your territory a long time ago. It used to be yours, but it's ours now. And, like, you're supposed to be like, wow, she's a bitch, taking black people's lands.
Well, she says, yeah, I took it from you, which is supposed to serve as you know, that's the point where you're like, okay, this bitch deserves it.
Yeah.
But...
what a racist.
But, well, from not even that for me, but yeah, I was just like, oh, well, she's kind of a bitch, but like, I still feel bad that she died. Kind of.
Yeah,
and she didn't deserve it.
I didn't. I don't know. Like, I thought it was kind of silly that they felt the need to do it, because you could clearly tell that it was designed so it was like, oh, she's kind of she's kind of a bitch, so you feel less bad if anything bad happens to her, but.
Yep.
Like, it's just kind of cheap, in my opinion. I don't like that. I enjoy the cars that they put in them, and every single one now.
Yeah, American muscle, man. You can't beat those imports.
Those classic American muscle.
What was it? Which Fast and Furious movie was it? I think it was Fast 5, where they talk about no one cares about Fast and Furious. It was just there was a movie I saw. And there was a big thing, because I used to be way into muscle cars, and like a big point in the movie that they kept going back to was American muscle's badass, and the other guy's like, imports forever.
Oh yeah, that was like the first one, because Vin Diesel's car in the first one is like a Barracuda, I think.
I don't know, and he's like, it has over 900 horsepower in the car. But,
yeah. I haven't watched those movies forever. People fucking love those movies. Yeah. I don't ever watch them.
The point is American Muscle always wins, because you can't beat a car that has like a freaking 5.7 liter engine, has 400 horsepower out of the factory, and the thing's just a giant 5,000 pound metal tank.
No, well, unless you have to take a turn at some point in the race.
Driving those cars is fun, though. They're rear-wheel drive, and they steer like boats.
Yeah, well, that was the problem. Like, so you see that. So clearly they didn't, like, trick out the car that he's driving in the very beginning of the movie, but you see that thing oversteer for so long because it's so heavy, and the rear-wheel drive is just spinning it out that he's, like, holding the slide, but, like, there's no reason the dude chasing him couldn't just been like, gotten around him, just like, casually steered around the car that's sliding all over the road.
Well, lucky for him, he was going up against a taxi service, and those are basically like decommissioned cop cars, which are all like Crown Vics.
Yeah, they're all Crown Vics.
So they're equally shitty.
Yeah. I like his fight scenes. You'll notice that he does a lot of grab somebody's arm and flip them, or jump up, grab their arm with his legs, and then flip himself and them. Mm-hmm. He does that a lot.
Oh yeah, he does the thing where he throws them over him, and then he lands on the ground, and then uses their body as a shield while he shoots two other people while holding their gun hand with his other arm.
Yeah.
So then he just bam bam shoots the guy in the head, takes his gun, and then continues to murder people.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, yeah, they did that like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 times that I could count. But I was like, well, I mean, they're trying to be practical with it. I mean, realistically, you're not going to be using a lot more than like 3 or 4 keys.
I kind of wish that they had like maybe given him like a longer knife, and then have one scene where he's out of a gun, but as opposed to grabbing people's arms and flipping them all over the place and like doing choke punches, just like gut punch, slice the throat, gut punch, stab in the eye. Like it would have been cool to see him tear through a room with other weapons besides his fists and guns, which he never really does except for the 1v1s.
Yeah.
And like some of the scenes like where he's like stealthily taking people out. And I also wish that they had introduced a little bit more of that. It's like my same criticism of the Batman movies. Like they show them being stealthy at the beginning of each movie, and then after that, it's always just balls to the wall, like choreographed fight scenes. Whereas like they could have had scenes with him at that party where he's just taking dudes down and he's moving around. You know what I mean? Hitman, Silent Assassin style, like piano wire, bring him into the shadows, choke him out, leave him there. Keep moving. It would have been cool. Thin the ranks a little bit.
No, it's totally a better idea to have him just run up on stage, shoot somebody on stage, so the crowd actually cheers, and then he jumps into the crowd and continues to kill people while moving through the crowd.
At point blank range. And like covering the crowd in blood.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I still liked the scenes. It was definitely more over the top than the first movie.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
It was like Spectre versus like any of the other like especially Casino Royale, which I thought was a very practical film.
Yeah.
And then you get to Spectre where they're like, hey, you know what we haven't done in a while? We haven't had like James Bond like fight somebody in a chopper, kill 2 people in a chopper, and then somehow not like crash into the ground and die.
Yeah. I like some of I liked a lot of the shots in the movie. The camera work was pretty well done.
Yeah.
And they definitely made use of the locations that they used. So like they had a lot of really good background shots of like the city skylines of like Rome and Boston and not Boston, New York. And like shows like the cathedrals and shit. Like I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and they had decently long takes too for the amount of action that was in the film.
Oh yes.
They didn't jump around a whole lot.
As Honest Trailers pointed out, like they shot all the action scenes. There's not excessive editing and excessive cutting. And you can tell that, at least from most of it, it's Keanu Reeves doing the choreography. Like, you show him walk in a room with the camera line pretty close, and then he's just fist fighting dudes. And and it's very clearly him versus stuntmen. And I like that. Yeah,
I thought it was pretty cool. I like because recently there's been like that push for, filming to just use less cutting around.
Yeah, because they do it way too fucking much now.
Like Donald Glover's show, Atlanta, like they list on the show's like little description that it's single camera.
Yeah.
So it's just continuous filming. They don't do a whole lot of cuts.
Well, they do a decent amount of cuts in Atlanta, but like the scene where he's walking through the nightclub trying to find the manager in Atlanta, like that's one long take from the edge of the nightclub, edge of the dance floor, all the way through to the other side. Like I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But a lot of his music videos are like that. They're either one long take or there's like editing trickery to make it seem like one long take to hide the cut. Like 3005 when he's on the carousel, like it's just one long take and then the camera will pan away during the hook and you see the city skyline and then it comes back to him and it's just him rapping.
Love that song. It was life-changing. Life-changing. The song was a religious experience.
Yeah.
Got me back into rap.
Alright, do we have anything more to say on the movie?
No. I think closing statements would be...
Closing statements, and for me, it was good. It was worth checking out.
Yeah.
It depends on how much you can tolerate your theater, or if you live in, like, a town that has a really not busy theater, go see it on like a Tuesday when no one's gonna be there to annoy you.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, I would check it out in theaters if you can. If not, I mean, everyone now's got a pretty big TV. Like, watch it at home, but it's still definitely worth picking up.
Jeez, your cat is an ass.
My cat's trying to break our stuff. I apologize.
But I would give the movie. I don't know. I guess I'd give it an 8 out of 10. If I were to rank it, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. I thought the first one was probably closer to a 9. But yeah, it's a solid movie. It has good action scenes. The script is good. I mean, Keanu's line delivery notwithstanding.
It's as good as it could possibly be.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the best I can say.
If you've seen The Matrix, you know what to expect.
Yeah, and like if you like it's not an innovative action movie plot. You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna blow your mind. And the fight scenes, while good, are not like raid quality, but like it's still.
Yeah.
Like, if you've watched an 80s or 90s or 2000s action movie, like, you're not going to be like, oh my god, what's a twist? Like, you're going to be like, alright, cool. Like, this is fucking Keanu Reeves is kicking ass, even though he's like 49 at this point. I don't know how old he is, but I know he's old.
He's getting up there, I mean.
Yeah, he's getting old. He's finally started to show aging on his face. Did you notice that in this movie?
Yeah, like the first time ever he looks older.
He actually looks older than like 20.
I think he's got to be much older than that, because I thought he was about 50 when he came out with Tai Chi Man, or Man of Tai Chi rather.
Let's find out. I don't know exactly how old he is. I know Bill and Ted. He was already like 20, wasn't he?
I don't remember, man. It's hard for me to gauge the ages of actors and actresses, because you always have people who are playing characters much younger than they actually are.
He's now pushing 52.
Oh, okay. So yeah, no, then he was.
He moves well.
He was mid to high 40s when that other movie came out.
He moves pretty well for somebody who's nearing retirement age.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He could kick my ass. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
He would fucking hand me my testes as a gift.
Or he basically did that to somebody in the movie.
Yeah, that shit was brutal.
Yeah.
There's also a lot more blood, I think, in this one. A lot more blood and gore effects. I saw what it looked like to me when some of the headshots, like brain matter, fly out.
Yeah.
Like,
they did a little bit of that in the first one too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did a little bit in the first one, but not as much. And a lot of the times in the first one, it would be like pop, 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 and then the camera would pan away from the body. This one was a lot like pop, stays on the body a little bit, like, yeah, no, he's fucking dead, and then it comes back up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely. I would say in terms of sequels, like they did a better job with the sequel than a lot of franchises do with sequels.
Yeah.
Like it was definitely better than Iron Man 2 versus Spider-Man 2. Actually, I thought X-Men 2 was better than X-Men 1, but The Last Stand, it was. Yeah, like
I'm really hoping that the third one is not Last Stand levels of quality.
It is leaps and bounds above Marvel sequels, because I just realized I listed off like all Marvel movies. But yeah, no, it was very, very good, especially for a sequel. It was a very good movie on its own.
Yeah,
I would recommend that you guys go out and watch it.
Like 7 out of 10 would recommend. All right, well, that was the John Wick 2 podcast. So yeah, we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, we gotta do something really funny for the next one.